Welcome to the Rewards Master. Today I have a very, very special video because we tried to do a live. We had some kind of internet connection problems. So as promised, I'm here with Travis White, my Citi and BILT friend, who we're both big into those two ecosystems, even though we travel in completely different ways to use up our points. But yet we're here and we want to talk about something that I think is intriguing because if you watch a lot of credit card points and miles content on YouTube, you know that Greg the Frequent Miler, one of the biggest names in the game, recently got shut down completely from all of his Citi cards. And it seems like it's a lifetime shutdown. So that was just a devastating thing for me to hear about because I thought, man, if that happened to me,
The
I don't
prestige.
even know how I would proceed, especially being Citi. So we thought what we thought would be fun is to just kind of go through all the different six major ecosystems that we have some involvement with: Capital One, Wells Fargo, Chase, Amex, Citi, and BILT, and kind of go through and say how bad or how irrelevant would it be if we were to lose all of our cards in that ecosystem. So Travis, introduce yourself. Great to have you here on the channel.
Yes, no, happy to be here. If y'all haven't heard of me, Travis White, I have my own YouTube channel, and RM and I we do a lot of collaborations together. And this was an unplanned one. This was meant to be alive, as he said, but we had technical issues. But yeah, I will say this topic gave me just heart palpitations, even thinking about losing access to some of these providers. And the other thing is, RM, I don't know if you heard us during our technical issues during the live, but I also pointed out, and people in the comments confirmed it. Greg mentioned that he was also banned, at least from what I understand, banned from Capital One.
Capital One.
And either that guy has absurdly bad luck or he's doing some funny business in some of his ecosystems. And now he is officially banned from, I mean, if you think about it, as of right now, and obviously I think that as time goes on, we'll get more and more built, aka, these startups that kind of hit the scene, whether they stick around or not, no idea. But there's only six ecosystems. He's banned from two of them.
Yeah.
33% of the providers he doesn't have access to, which, man, that would be heartbreaking. But speaking of Capital One, RM, I think that was our first one to hit.
It
Do you want to
is.
start?
Yeah, sure. Capital One, when we if we were to rank which would be the worst to lose, it'd be number five out of the six on my list, because Capital One, as I as I think about it, I only have two cards from them. We have a Quicksilver, which got a little better, but still not great, and we have a Venture X, and we used to really hit the Venture X hard. BILT changed that forever, but I really only have the Venture X because I know I can't get it again. And I'm hopeful that the pressure and competition from BILT is going to impact Capital One much more severely than it does Chase and Amex and even Citi. And I think that Capital One will be the first one to really ramp up their top level card in to try to compete. I don't know that that's for sure going to happen, but I think it's possible. And so I'm really only bullish on the ecosystem because I'm thinking there's a possibility that it might get better and it might be compelling. So I keep it because I want to be able to have it if it is compelling. And I know I can't ever get it again. They don't like people like me. I'm not profitable. So it's number five on my list. Honestly, we have a lot of points there. As long as I could transfer those points out, if I lost those cards, it would literally make no difference except putting $395 back in my pocket every year.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that. So, as far as rank, and I want to, there's a big caveat to this. So it is actually out of the six. I put it as the sixth most impactful provider, meaning dead last. But what's interesting is that I want to make it very clear. I think the Capital One ecosystem is really good for the average person. And I was pointing out in the live, for those people, and you and I, they're not as impactful just because there's a lot of aspects to that. But talking about the good of Capital One, they have 3x in almost all of the most important categories. And right now they're missing gas, but that, as we all know, that's coming via the Quicksilver. And on top of that, this is pure speculation, but I think a lot of people, including myself, I theorize that you're going to eventually be able to get 5x via Discover with the Discover card, which is currently only cash back. And if that happens, then all of a sudden that definitely adds points to them. With that said, they don't have the best transfer partners, in my opinion. Let me clarify, all of these providers have good transfer partners that, Rewards Master and I can take advantage of. But I don't think there's anything super unique about their partners. And on top of that, if it's only 3x, gamers like Rewards Master and I, there's not much I can get out of that ecosystem right now. And on top of that, even if I wanted to, I can't. I'm basically blocked out. I can still get some Capital One cards, but none of them are the Venture X, the one that I want the most, and purely just for the lounge access. And on top of that, easiest credits in the world. Again, it goes back to like, it's a good ecosystem depending on who you are. And if you want a simple setup, very few credits to keep up with, and by the way, free and unlimited access if you're a solo traveler, the Venture X, I mean, it's amazing. But yeah, for me personally, I put it at number 6. If I was somebody else, it would definitely be higher on this list.
See, yeah, the only thing I think number 6 is fair. I don't see it exactly the same way when it comes to, I don't think it's good for the average person. And I'll tell you that from experience. All of my kids, I have 3 grown children, and all of my kids have the Venture X because I recommended it hard to them in the very beginning because it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Back when it had the lounge access and free authorized users, and they all got lounge. I just thought that was so cool. But what I have found, my kids have had it for years now, 3-4 years each since it started, right? They got it in the beginning. And they just use the points in the travel portal. That's all they do. Because my kids are normal people. They're not going to transfer to fly on American to BA. They're not going to, normal people don't do that. They're not going to transfer in order to fly on Star Alliance. They're not going to transfer to over to Aeroplan in order to fly on United. They're not going to do that. Most regular folks, to use those transfer partners, need one that's an easy domestic. That's how I see it, because I don't think my kids, no, my son, one time I walked him through how to book a United flight with Aeroplan, and I had to walk him through that on the phone, and he didn't act like he ever wanted to do that again. I mean, it was like,
yeah,
he wants to just transfer his points to Southwest, or that's what a lot of quote regular people do. So I agree with you, but I think it's a better card for gamers. I think it's a better ecosystem for gamers, for people who are deep in this at a higher level, because their partners really only work for people at a higher level. I don't know. What do you
I
think?
hear you and I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain extent. And the reason that I say that, as far as like, if acceptability, aka somebody's ability to get the cards didn't matter, BILT and Citi are number one for me as far as like a beginner credit card that I think that you can easily get value from, especially because, well, Citi has American, and then BILT you can redeem for 1.25 in their travel portal. And I think a lot of people, those beginners, they really like using their points in the portal. With that said, though, for instance, my cousin, I actually mentioned this in one of our other collaborations. She wanted a credit card, and she needed something that was, travel friendly, aka didn't have foreign transaction fees, and she was struggling to get accepted for credit cards. Capital One is notoriously friendly for people with low credit, which is again why I say, like, average person, maybe I'm sort of including people with bad credit in that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
for her, it made a lot of sense. But besides the point, yeah, yeah. So what do you rank? What do you rank Capital One as before we move on to the next one?
That's number 5.
Number
That'd be
5.
number 5. I wouldn't miss them, but I don't want to lose them because I'm hopeful about the
Yeah.
future with the Venture X. So what about Wells Fargo? Where's that one for you?
So you mentioned this, and again, I don't know if you heard me via the live technical issues. I am known as the Citi and BILT guy, and let me clarify, that's because they're good ecosystems right now. If they begin to be bad, and one thing that is definitely a hit that we have to take into account, Citi losing the custom cash, I think is a major hit to them. We got to be realistic about it. I'm also getting to be known, and I will continue to be known because I'm actually releasing a video tomorrow morning at the date of filming, again about Wells Fargo. I really like Wells Fargo. And that's unfortunately, I'm having trouble getting those cards. But as far as how good that ecosystem, I love it. I love their points, especially for an economy traveler. And on top of that, I vehemently disagree with everybody, actually. The rewards master, I'm actually going to disagree with something you said in your previous video that Hyatt was still the best hotel partner in the game. I think that if you're willing to pick and choose your hotels and you care a lot about cent per point, I agree that on average, Hyatt is going to have nicer hotels. You're going to have more consistent experience, but those Wyndham resorts can be very nice. And the cent, I would be willing to wager a large amount of money that the cent per point on average that you're going to get from Wyndham 1 to 2 versus Hyatt is going to be much higher, which is
Doesn't
why,
doesn't
sorry.
Wyndham charge the same price no matter which room you get?
Well, yes, sort of. The difference is that the way that they categorize those hotels is pretty inconsistent. So like if you look, so the answer is yes, it's a fixed award chart, but the way that they actually like rate their hotels, I don't know what those categories is strange. So like for instance, in one of my previous videos, there was a resort, it's a very nice resort, cost $400 per night to stay at. If you used Wells Fargo points, $75 worth of points per night. Just unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about a redemption value that of like international business class. It, I could eat the amount of food that I would need to get those $75 of the points back. But besides the point, I love their points. There, another thing that I really like is that the ecosystem is cheap. It's not a coupon book. Their sole paid card. There's a $50 flight credit that comes on it that you can book direct with the airline. You instantly get $50 back. This is the topic of my next video that's coming out, meaning it's instantly a $45 card. And let's be honest, if you don't have the platinum, and I realize some people may argue the reserve, I would argue against that. But if you don't have the platinum, it would be a no-brainer to use your Wells Fargo autograph journey for that. It's instantly a $45 card. There's no coupon, anything you have to keep up with. And there's a lot of keeper cards in that, like the Attune card, 4X on entertainment. I would love to get deeper in this ecosystem if they let me. This is number 3 for me.
What do you have with them? What do you have with them? What would
I
you be
currently
using?
have the autograph card, and then because I'm struggling to get their personal cards, I also have the Signify card, the business card, and I'm essentially devoting all of my business spend only to the Wells Fargo ecosystem because I really want those points.
Okay. Number 3. For me, it's 6. I have one Wells Fargo card, and it's the autograph card that used to be my BILT 1.0. And I wouldn't even cry very much if they took my card and all my points, since I have 0 points. I've never earned a Wells Fargo point because I have that card and I've not even put a candy bar on it. I mean, I, I want to. It's a really good card, but it's like I haven't had reason to yet. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna miss it. But I don't disagree. I think it's a good. Yeah, the thing about the hotels is since they added Wyndham, I could see that. But Choice Hotels, Nona's too bougie for that. I mean, there's just no way. They call them things like Quality Inn. I mean, isn't that one of theirs, Quality Inn?
I have stayed at many quality inns, and actually,
Let me tell you, you would just love to be a fly on the wall when Bob says to Nona, "Hey, I booked us at a Quality Inn." I mean, it's just not. Let me tell you, that vacation is not going to be fun for me. It's not going to be fun.
It's so funny because you and I, we think so similarly whenever it comes to the way that we look at these cards, but our style of travel and our approach, especially to like the couponification of these cards, is so different. So in some ways, we see things so similar. In some ways, it's totally different. And I will say my approach to my style of travel, in case anybody who's watching is unfamiliar, Bob really enjoys the nicer things in life. The reason that he's in this game is to elevate his style of travel. For me, it is purely to basically I'm going to be traveling. I will be spending money to make it happen, but I'm using my cards to decrease how much that's going to cost. Is essentially the way that I see it. And then I named the resorts, but for me, with Wyndham, I'm not going to be staying at any of these resorts. I'm going to be finding really high cent per point value hotels that are clean, have good Wi-Fi, have air conditioning, don't have bed bugs.
Yeah. Well, that last part is the part where Nona would say, we're not staying there because it'll probably have that. I mean, it's the funny thing about it is that she'll stay in a Fairfield. She travels for work. She
Yeah.
stays in Fairfields all the time. And that's the bottom Marriott. She'll stay
Mhm.
at a Hampton all day. She'll stay at a Hyatt place, no problem. But you say
Yep.
quality, she's gonna be like, that is not the same thing. I mean, it's a perception thing, you know? So
Yep.
I don't disagree. I just know it's not going to work in my life. So bye bye, Wells Fargo
Wells
cards.
Fargo's out of the
Not going to
picture.
miss them. Not going to miss them. So
Totally hear you. So next up, I'm actually very interested as to where you rated them. Chase.
Chase is number 4, but it's really close between them and number 3.
Hmm.
Chase, I would miss them because we would be talking, if you lost the whole ecosystem, you'd be losing the business cards too. And I would miss I like my Chase business cards a lot. I think they have for the cost to benefit, what the card costs
Hmm.
versus what you get from it, they got the best business cards in the game. I mean, there's just no doubt, especially when you factor in sign up bonuses. I mean, their sign up bonuses are just nuts good for what you get for the fee on the card.
Hmm.
I mean, I love the ink cards. I love them. And I'm not meaning the Sapphire Reserve for business. I don't have that one, but I have an ink preferred and I have an ink cash, and spend goes on both of those cards. The ink preferred, that card, that travel category is very strong. And sometimes I'm at the point where I'm trying to separate a little of my business spend and a little of my personal spend. So in separating that card is super, because I mean we're YouTubers. I mean, we're travelers. So a lot of our businesses travel. Well, here's a 3x on every kind of travel card. That's a great card. And then you have the ink. I mean, the ink cash card. Oh, wow. And I won't get into all the gamification that can be done with that, but those 5X categories are really strong. And
Yeah.
and you can use it in ways that kind of give you 5X on almost anything. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and
With the
it's got a much
gamification
higher
part.
spend threshold than, say, a Citi custom cash, so I really, really, really would miss those cards. I mean, I would miss those cards a lot. On
Yeah.
the personal side, I would not miss the Sapphire Preferred at all. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the Sapphire Preferred because I do have the the Ink Preferred, and I don't need both of them because I can transfer with the Ink Preferred. So that one wouldn't miss it. I mean, I want to get rid of that card, so I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss any of the Freedom cards because the Freedom cards are not great to me. I don't think the Freedom Unlimited is very powerful. Now, this new Pace thing's kind of interesting, but that won't be forever. And
And
the
pays, you
Flex,
can do
what'd
that
you
with
say?
their like free cards too. The pays, you can do that with the freedom cards too. So
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
need the paid versions, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. That Pace thing is good, but that's a temporary
Mhm.
promotion. That ain't gonna last forever, I don't think. So
Yeah.
would I miss the Freedom Flex? No, because I don't like rotating category cards. I just don't like it's not consistent enough for me. I like things that are I can get this for this purpose and this for this purpose, and just I don't know. It's just I I have 3 custom caches. I'm just going to use those. I'm not going to go into that. So those cards just don't get much spent. Now we do have a Hyatt World of Hyatt card. We wouldn't miss it that much. We'd miss the free night cert, but that's it. Same thing with IHG. So honestly, the ink cards are the only reason it matters at all. But those ink cards do matter. So it's number 4 for me. What about for you?
It's so interesting. I think that I ended up landing right where you did. And so basically I rated number 4 as a tie between two different issuers. I will let y'all know later on as we talk about these things what the other tie is, but it's tied with another issue at number 4. And the reason that I rated it above Capital One is I'll go through it piece by piece. Personal cards, business cards, and co-branded cards. Personal cards, I actually really do like the reserve. I actually made a video. Maybe some of y'all have seen it, but I made a video on the reserve. I think that is an underrated card. With that said, it is not good enough for me to add it to my current setup. But one big change is, let's say that the Austin airport gets a Sapphire Lounge, and I am not talking about. I heard a lot of people talking about, well, I really like the Sapphire Lounge at Austin. Have you been to Texas in the summer heat? That was an outdoor lounge. I would rather, I don't know what Luke Points and Miles always calls being with Joe and Schmo's kids or whatever. I don't know how he says it. I would rather be with Joe and Schmo's kids in the air conditioning than up on a rooftop with canned food at the Sapphire Lounge, the previous one.
I mean,
If
that
that
heat will
showed
knock
up,
your Aunt Connie's socks off.
yeah, exactly. If you get a decent
That's just a
one that's
shout out
in.
to Uncle Luke.
Okay, gotcha. No, I knew. Oh yeah, I knew if they add an indoor one, then all of a sudden that card shoots up my priorities list. As of right now, it's not there. The rest of the personal cards, I just have very little interest in. Don't get me wrong. I get that a lot of people really like the Freedom Flex. That's understandable. 5X is great, and especially if you don't have four custom cash cards or three custom cash cards, it's a valuable card. The preferred is just, I actually saw a very large YouTuber talking about that was still the best beginner card. I vehemently disagree with that. And
I think
yeah,
there's like 14 that are better.
I, YouTube is a business, and I understand that. That's all I'll say there. But with that said, personal cards, I really wouldn't miss that. If it was based on that alone, it would be number six. Um, with that said, the business cards are great. I don't have them. They don't match my needs as of right now, only because I'm really trying to keep fees down. But the business cards are great, and I may get to the point eventually where I want those. So yeah, the business side I think I think is really good. And then on the co-branded side, this is really what for me what carried Chase. On the co-branded side, they've got so many co-branded cards.
They do.
And some of them come with some benefits that I really, really want. As a result, I have them tied at four with a different issuer.
Makes sense. What's our next one on the list? American Express. I'll let you start on this one.
Okay, so now y'all got the reveal for who it's tied with. Um, Amex is tied with Chase at four, and keep in mind, Amex is one of those ones where I get if you're behind the computer just typing away, being like, "Are you insane?" If you're a high spender, Amex is invaluable. If you're okay with taking advantage of coupons, it is invaluable. I could easily see why you'd think this would be much higher. So anybody who disagrees with me, totally get it. Just speaking from my personal circumstances, I really don't like the fact that they've got a lot of credits that come with them. They're really high fee, doesn't really match my state of life, my mindset as of right now. But with that said, sign up bonuses with American Express are just unbelievable, especially if you go the business card route. I mean, they just doesn't get much better than that. And on top of that, they do have some unique transfer partners, including it is, Delta Pesos. It is nice to have Delta points once in a while. They can come in handy. And the other thing that is going through my mind is, let's say, because we're going through the exercise, let's say I got, banned from Citi. Let's say that they look up and they say, this little has four custom cash cards. We don't want him anymore. All of a sudden, I don't really have anything that's going to be getting above 3x on dining or grocery. And that's where the gold card would be just amazing. And then 5x direct on flights, it literally doesn't get better than that. And then, of course, they have a really extensive lounge network. For all those reasons, it is lower on my list probably than it should be. So, yeah, it's tied at number four with Chase. What about you?
Well, Amex this is the dividing line. This is where it would hurt to lose them. It would
Mhm.
hurt. I mean, we have all those high-end cards. We have Aspire, we have two, business platinum and a regular platinum. And we got thousands of dollars in annual fees. But man, we've earned so many American Express membership reward points. But it's not even about the points. And I get a business card or two every year and get the 200,000, 300,000 points, whatever.
I
But
bet you
it's
are.
not even about that. It's about the perks. The
Yeah,
perks are just awesome. They are awesome. So what would I miss? I would miss my business platinum, especially now that I'm getting the chat GPT credit, which I'm loving.
that is cool.
I
That
am
is
loving
cool.
it. And I would miss my business gold, especially now that I'm getting because those two cards together pay for the whole thing for a whole year, make it free.
Mhm.
And that offsets the annual fee significantly, makes both of those cards that were a little hard. I could still get the money back off the business platinum, but it was harder. Now it's pretty easy to justify. So, the lounge access, all of that, the credits aren't too bad on each of those. I love it. FHR, we love it. And then our regular platinum, oh wow. I mean, the perks on that are crazy fun. I mean, the
Mhm.
FHR, I mean, we use that stuff and we use it heavy. So those perks would just strike me right here. It would hit me hard because of that. And then just not having the potential to get all those points. I mean, the amount of points I earn every year would drop in half if I didn't have Amex.
And that's primarily from which source? Is it
From
just
sign-up bonuses.
sign up
I mean, when
bonuses?
you're getting 300,000 or 200,000 from one card every year, one card, it's going to cut. I try to earn about 500,000 in sign-up bonuses a year, and it
Mhm.
would be half. I mean, it would be close to half. So
Unbelievable.
now I also have my spend that's going on BILT now, but still, it would be devastatingly bad. The next one is Citibank. So if I didn't say it before, Amex is number 3 for me. Citibank is number 1. And that's why when Greg said that, man, my heart leapt in my chest because I can't even imagine. I have the old Prestige card to get 5X on all my dining, earned 80,000 plus points just on that card last year, just from my spending. And it
Mhm.
was because we dine out a lot, and then I buy airfare on that card because it's 5X. That would hurt me. I have 3 custom caches, and so all our gas goes on that at 5X. We get some other things that home improvement. We buy a lot of that. I live on a farm, buy a lot of stuff in home improvement stores. 5X, so many 5X categories, 6X on city nights with the elite card. I mean, it would just be a whole reset of our entire points and miles strategy that we've been employing for years and years. So
Mhm.
that would, and then AA, that one would, I mean, I wouldn't have any access to American Airlines miles at all. I mean, either through their cards or through transfers. That would be so devastating. It would devastate me. It would devastate me. I'd survive it. I'd shift and alter, but it would be hard. It would be
And just simply put, it does not get easier than American. Like whenever if you don't know what you're doing, and actually it's kind of we're going back to our original conversation at the very beginning. What is the best beginner card? It's part of the reason why I believe that City is squarely in that conversation because I think a lot of people really enjoyed Chase because of Hyatt because Hyatt was easy. And I think that, somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing, if you just say, hey, anytime that you use your City points, check American Airlines. If American Airlines doesn't have a good deal, just wait and pay with cash. That might be my advice to somebody. It's just as easy as it gets. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What you said, City was number one for you.
uh-huh.
So on my side, and I was torn. I was torn. I have City at I have it tied, and I'm sure that everybody listening already knows what it's tied with for me, or was going to be tied with. But I know it's such a scapegoat to tie the number one on the list. So I put it at number two. And that was me taking into account the fact that there may be a lot of people that enter this game that can't take advantage of the custom cash card that never that is out of the equation for them, and I did want to
Right.
sort of take that into account. But I tell you what, there's a reason why it was going to be tied at number one. I would be heartbroken because especially somebody who is relatively low spend, meaning I'm not generating a ton of points, which is why multipliers matter a lot to me. That I'm relatively low spend, I'm an economy traveler, and economy via American Airlines is crazy good. I would just be heartbroken. And on top of that, talk about just easy, really high multipliers with my existing custom cash cards. I've got four of them. I'll use them on dining, gas, and grocery. Grocery, I'll have two just because occasionally I'll go over that 500, and I'm getting 5x on all of that. And I would stick with that even if they didn't have American Airlines. I actually have had a bunch of comments basically implying, well, if they didn't have American Airlines, would you still be in that ecosystem? You wouldn't be in that ecosystem. The comments are not that friendly. They're trying to imply that I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't have American Airlines. I was into Citi way before they added AA. And again, even if let's pretend that they dropped AA tomorrow, those custom cash cards for somebody who is a low spender, flies economy, and is relatively adept in this game, having a predictable 5x on any category that you want, meaning you don't have to keep up with like rotating categories with, the Freedom Flex or the Discover It card, is just invaluable. Again, to wrap things up, if I lost Citi, I would be heartbroken. And I would have to reevaluate my whole setup, frankly. For a time being, I'd probably be using I would be a one card setup, BILT Palladium. But yeah.
Yeah, you talked about the Citi thing. I was Citi when Citi wasn't cool, also, because I mean, I had all my ThankYou cards before American was a transfer partner, and I still loved them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, because it's the earnings, it's all about the earnings.
Totally agree.
But if you lost the whole ecosystem, I'd lose American cards too, and that'd be so hard. So they're my number one. Well, we come to the last one, and I think we know who your number one is because you've not presented it yet. So tell us why BILT is that for you, Travis.
Yes, BILT comes in at number one, and frankly, it needs no introduction. For me, I'll speak on the ecosystem as a whole, so it's more applicable to everybody watching, and then I'll talk about it for me personally. I mean, you talk about BILT as an ecosystem, it's just unbelievable. And the fact that every single one of their cards, if you count the fact that if you have housing costs, which I'm going to guess is a mass majority of people, whether it's your rent or your mortgage, every single one of their cards, including the BILT Blue card, the free version, which has no foreign transaction fees and technically gets 2.3x on everything. It's so funny because the rest of the cards are so good that the BILT Blue card is completely overshadowed. If I didn't, frankly, if the BILT Palladium and Obsidian didn't exist, the BILT Blue would probably be my catch-all card. Like it's that good. But for me personally, the whole point is that the entire ecosystem is unbelievable as far as earnings. And then on top of that, their transfer partners, said it a million times, are unbelievable. They're so good. And then you talk about the BILT Palladium, 3.3x on all spend. And then if you do the points boost, let's say you have a lot of extra BILT cash, that turns into 4.3x on everything. And you have access to partners like Alaska and Japan Airlines and others. Hyatt, if you love Hyatt, it's just unbelievably good. And on top of that, that's not even mentioning, and I realize that for Rewards Master, because his points are so valuable, because he's a business class flyer, I understand that these things don't matter to you. But let's say that your economy, as a result, even as somebody, I would consider myself relatively sophisticated whenever it comes to redeeming my points, locking in. Let's say that I'm taking a lift and I want to redeem $10 on a Lyft ride. That is locking in 4% cash back and then 2x BILT points. That in itself is again amazing. And I actually have a BILT dining restaurant where I can lock in again. I think it was like $25. I can't remember. And then if you do, your hotels, you can lock in. It was like $50 or above. I can't remember once you get status. It's more than that. I could look it up after this. Locking in the cash back is also just unbelievable. And then that's not even mentioning their network, the dining network. Actually, Danny and I, for my birthday, we went out to celebrate. It was a Friday night. I used my Strata Elite, got 6% back in American Airlines miles, and an additional, I think it was 2 or 3% back in BILT points. It just unbelievable. It took the number one spot, but I will say it was really close to Citi. What about you?
Well, it takes my number two spot. The only thing I don't think I would see the blue card as strong as you've asserted, because I don't think you can do the accelerator with the blue card. Am I wrong about that?
You can't, but it's still 2.3x up until approximately
If you're
75%
paying rent or mortgage
if
with
you're
it.
paying rent or mortgage.
Yeah, but not having the accelerator to me, 2.3 when you can get two on a lot of other cards. It wouldn't be as compelling. You understand what I mean?
For sure.
What I really, but I love the Obsidian, and I really really love the Palladium. And the Palladium, I mean, there's so many different ways. The numbers are different for every single person that uses the Palladium card because there's so many different ways to use it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so weird because if you spend enough on it, you could, in theory, have a $495 card that gives you $1,200 in hotel credits plus 400 more, $1,600 in hotel credits. Because if you spend enough on the card, you're going to get $100 worth of BILT cash every month, and you can buy a hotel and get $100 credit back. I don't know anybody that's doing it that way, but
But you
you
could.
could. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you could have a card that has, I get $120 a year at Walgreens and $120 a year at, I mean, it's like choose your own credits.
Actually, speaking of, and then I'm going to let you continue. Anyone in the comments, because I want to hear your perspective, and I did want to ask: have you ever tried to explain built to any of your friends or family?
I don't even try anymore.
Don't get me wrong. I am going to
I just
continue.
tell them, pay your mortgage on this. That's all I tell
That
them.
is, at the end of the day, I say pay your mortgage on it and use your built cash to earn points on rent, and that's all I tell them. And even if they don't have the sophistication of redeeming their points, they can use their points at 1.25 in the portal, which is obviously more than they're going to get in most other ecosystems. But it is hilarious trying to explain it to people. But I'm not going to stop recommending them. I'm just going to assume my viewers have intelligence, and if they can't figure it out, it is what it is. Sorry,
Well,
continue.
people who watch credit card YouTube are more capable of, they have more interest in it. And that's what it
I
comes down to.
agree.
You got about 12 seconds of interest when you talk to a non-credit card person about credit cards. And it takes more than 12 seconds to even describe the most minute aspect of BILT. And so then their eyes glaze over
And you lose
and
them.
they're out. They might
Yeah.
be polite and say, but they are not hearing a word you're saying anymore. So it's a gamer's card out of this world, but
Yeah,
people
it
got to
is.
build up to it, right? They got to build up to it. But yeah, I love it. The reason I put it number two is because I I can. It is an incredible catch-all card, but there's one card in the ecosystem, so I can't like find a way to add to it and cover all of my spend at an even higher level. And
True.
I can cover so much with the 5X categories with Citi and even a little bit with Chase. Chase is a part of my spending, even though it's lower on the list because it doesn't give me the sign up bonuses Amex does. But in my everyday spending, Chase does get some spend because it's got some 5X categories. So but BILT is the foundation. It is the base of everything now on my general spending because I even have trouble like when I'm doing sign up bonuses, which I'm working on two or three right now, and I'm struggling. Like today, I had to book some stuff, and I was like, well, I'm going to get 1X, but I am working on the sign up bonus, but I'm going to get 3 point whatever. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean,
It
and you're
is.
like
It
trying to
is.
decide which do I do. I mean, and what an incredible business model that they've created a card that people like have a little bit of internal grief not to use. I mean,
It's it's
it's
so
really
funny.
wild.
It's
And
so funny that you say that because as you were talking, it is hilarious because they achieved two things that I think are both just amazing, something that every other card issuer wishes they could do, and something that no card issuer in their right mind would want, which is they've somehow figured out a way to encourage everyone to want to put spend on their card. That's amazing. But they've also achieved encouraging only gamers to acquire their cards. Because, of course, if you're not a gamer, if you're not really into the credit cards and really into maximizing your value, as you said, how do you explain BILT to somebody who doesn't care about credit cards? The people that most of these issuers want to acquire. So, yeah, it is interesting.
yeah. Well, that's my list. That's your list. That's where we're at. And we were pretty close. I mean, I would
Yep.
say we flip-flopped on Capital One and Wells Fargo. We flip-flopped on Citi and BILT. Chase and Amex were kind of right there together in the middle for both of us. And the thing is that I don't want to lose any of them,
Yeah,
but
me
some
either.
of them would hurt more than others. They would hurt a lot more than others.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do any shenanigans that are going to get me shut down. At least that's not my desire.
Mm.
And especially with those top three, Amex, with Citi, and with BILT, I'm going to try to keep everything on the up and up all the time because those are so valuable to me.
And one thing before we close, I do want to add one, I think, very important caveat to all of this. The the level of value that each of these lenders provides changes drastically over time. Like if we made these ratings 6 years ago, the ratings, the rankings would look probably very different than they do today, which
Yeah,
is another reason why you do not want a lifetime ban. So, yeah,
exactly right. Well, because 6 years ago, Chase would have been right up there with Amex as far as being able to get lots and lots of sign-up bonuses. But now it's not that way anymore. So things definitely change. They definitely
Mhm.
change. Travis, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you. Sorry our live didn't work out. I'm sorry to everybody who tried to watch it. Don't know what happened because maybe it was StreamYard because we've done this and not had a single issue. And we did this immediately after we were having the trouble with StreamYard. So don't know the reason, but at least we got you the material. Thank you, Travis, for being on. Thank you for everybody who's here. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and we will see you here at our next collaboration.
Definitely. Thank you.